This is Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell on the Forge Audio Network.
Forge fans, welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Mackenzie Barwell, here to give you all things Forge FC. Today is August 31st, 2023. Forge tomorrow will head over to Vancouver. So today I got the opportunity to chat with some players before their big day of travel. But first and foremost, something I wanted to mention, we've got a few changes happening to the Forge Audio Network schedule. I've mentioned before that I am a student at McMaster, so now that school is starting, I gotta reel it back a little bit. That being said, you can expect an episode of Forge Daily Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Behind the Beard will remain on Wednesdays. And then Friday, you can expect an episode of Max Access. This is more of a player-focused piece where you can really take an inside look at some of the personalities on Forge FC. There's actually an episode out already with Seba Costello and Chris Colongo on YouTube, so definitely have a look at that for what you might see in the near future. So let's dive into Sunday's matchup and what's going on around the league as of now, because we are just 6 games away from the end of the regular season. Tomorrow, as I said, Forge will go over to Vancouver, and then they'll be back here at Tim Hortons Field for the following weekend against Cavalry. That's a big day. It's the Spark Summit. I've talked about it before. As you know, Cavalry are currently sitting at the top of the league with 36 points. Forge are tied for second with 3 other teams, including Pacific, Atletico, and Halifax. But to remind you, Forge has 22 games played, while they all have 21. That said, in talking to Coach David Edgar, he made a good point in saying that it doesn't necessarily indicate too much of an advantage because around the league, any team can beat any team. So there are benefits to either side, either, gaining points early or having a game in hand. As we saw just over a week ago now, Vancouver, the last place team, beat Pacific, which at the time were first. So truly anything can happen here. And before we take a deeper look into Vancouver's performances as of late, I wanted to talk about a recent article the CPL published. My good friend Charlie O'Connor-Clark, who has been on the show before, wrote about some recent League One Ontario standouts who are making a name for themselves in the CPL, and I thought it would be a good thing to talk about ahead of Sunday's match because both Forge and Vancouver have some representation. So firstly, if you are unfamiliar with League One, it's a semi-pro league in Ontario. There's actually similar leagues across Canada for different provinces. League One Ontario, though, recently just passed a new milestone with 200 players moving on to signing professional contracts. So the league itself has proven to be a major contributor to the success of the CPL, with about 40 players who this season have played at least one match in League One Ontario at some point in their careers. And every single CPL team actually has at least one player with a history in the League One Ontario pathway. So that said, from Forge FC, Noah Jensen was recognized. And I'll be fully honest and say that I didn't realize that he had signed last year until I talked to him one-on-one for the first time. But I think that goes to show, just how much he has stood out in the way that he carries himself, the maturity that he has. Even in our conversation last week when I asked him about, who he sees as a mentor on the team and what they offer him, he was quick to mention that he feels like as much as he relies on his teammates, he also feels they can rely on him. So I think that really encapsulates his presence that he brings to the team. Since signing, Noah's made 21 appearances across all competitions and, as you know, fits seamlessly into an already talented midfielder, including Kyle Becker, Abu Sissoko, and Alessandro Hijabrapor. Noah made his professional debut just last year in the CONCACAF Champions League. He started the CPL final as well in Ottawa, but before all that, he was a League One player with Sigma FC. And that's something that I talk with Bobby a lot about, how Forge have now kind of created this really strong connection with Sigma to build a pathway for young talent. For Vancouver FC, Amir Kinani was recognized. He was Vancouver's second overall pick in the 2023 CPL Youth Sports Draft from TMU, and he's already impressed them enough that the club recently announced that he's going to be staying with the team until the end of the season rather than heading back to school. So lucky him. In his last season with League One prior to the CPL, he scored 17 goals in just 20 games, finishing fourth in the league. Now he's made 16 appearances with Vancouver and recorded 1 goal and an assist, both of which actually came from Vancouver's most memorable first ever home victory against Forge FC. So he will be one to watch out for in the attack on Sunday. Now, as we know, Vancouver are the newest team to join the league as of this year. And looking at their record this season, they've got 4 wins, 5 draws, and 12 losses. But that said, they've never lost to Forge. So in both matchups, they've got a draw and a win. So they've already proven that they are a team that can compete. I spoke to Dom and Woobs about why this is a team that cannot be underestimated and what it is about their playing style that has to be broken down in order to be successful.
I think, like you said, they're a new team. They have something to prove. All of them there, they got their contracts. They want to keep them. And they want to show the league that, like, look, yeah, like we're a new team, but we can keep up regardless of how long we've been here. So I think, like us, like they always have that chip on their shoulder, and they want to come out, compete, win some games, and show the league that they should and deserve to be there. Despite where they are in the standings, I think they do a decent enough job defending, like keeping things compact in the middle. And so, yeah, I think they do well like that. And it's kind of tough for teams to break them down until they do. And then the games just kind of open up for them. And that's kind of how things go.
Well, like you said, they got a couple of good results against good teams this year. Like you said, Pacific, unfortunately, against us twice. They won one and they tied one, if I remember. So we saw in the season they can have like good results against good teams. So we can't underestimate them, and we have to play them like every other team, especially now with the standings who are like really, really close. Everyone is really close from each other, so we have to take every game very seriously and to be able to get the 3 points every game. Yeah, well, I think they're a team that want to go fast on the counterattacks. So we have to be sure that when we lose the ball, we have to condense and try to win the ball the quickest possible. Because we know that if we don't, they can go with long balls, and they have good players up front. If I think of Diaz, who was there a couple of years ago, really good striker, and even Gabriel Bitar or even Cantave. Those are really good players that can hurt teams.
They're dangerous, yeah.
So yeah.
And lastly, with 6 matches remaining and a 4-way tie for second, I felt like I had to ask if that changes anything or how their mentality shifts going into the remaining matches of the regular season.
No, I don't think it's different. Of course, it's important because it's the end of the season. But like Bobby said, the past game, it's we're already in the playoffs. The playoff don't start in 6 games. They already started. And that's why we have to go game by game and try to get the 3 points every game. So like during the playoff, every game, we never know if it's the last one or if you're going to have another one. So it's really important for us to be focused on the game that we have now. And for the rest, we'll see after.
We take every game like a playoff game. I mean, we have been doing that for the last 10 games. Yeah, we just take it game by game. You go in, you execute, you get the job done, then you move on to the next one. You can't really focus on the games ahead of the one that's right in front of you until you deal with the first one, right?
Only as good as your next game.
Exactly, right.
A wise man once told me.
But yeah, it's just focus on the game ahead of you. Hopefully we win 6 games in a row.
We're chilling.
And we're chilling, Results go our way in the other games, and that's it.
Okay, thanks, Tom. There you have it. That is not a response that we're unfamiliar with. It seems as though everybody's on the same page in the sense that even though we are approaching the playoffs, these last games can be considered playoff matches in and of themselves. So nothing but exciting football coming your way. Thank you all so much for listening. We will wrap it up there. Enjoy the match on Sunday, stream it on One Soccer, and stay tuned for the second episode of Max Access coming out tomorrow.
This has been Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell. If you like what you heard, please follow, subscribe, comment, and share.